hi first? Come on. Councilmember Ed Chen, he's got to go. He's got his other job to go to, so let's give him a round of applause for thanking him for helping with all of this and getting this organized as well. So, all right. Well, welcome everyone. This is our very first neighborhood watch of the year. I can't believe. Here we go again, huh? You know, I want to just share something real quick, and then we'll get you guys off to eat. There's been a lot of talk lately about maybe how unsafe Temple City has become, and I understand that because, you know, we see the newspapers, we see the headlines, things like that. But I want to let you guys know that we are still a relatively safe city. What I mean by that is that, you know, we're never going to stop crime entirely. That is never going to happen, ever. But relatively speaking, here in Temple City, we take it very seriously. And one of the things, of course, that we take seriously is having these types of meetings. Because I think all of these gentlemen will tell you, and I agree with them, that they can't do it by themselves. There's just no way. Unless we have a police officer on every corner of every street in our city, they're not going to see everything. So we need your help. And your participation in these types of programs has lent itself very well to keeping us safe and secure. And also, of course, you know, knock on wood, we haven't had a natural disaster that we have to worry about in a long time. And feel safe that we're probably not going to have a natural disaster for a while because I'm not mayor right now. Okay, that's a kind of inside joke that whenever I'm mayor, we have a natural disaster. Jerry will attest to that. But we get through it. But we don't have to worry about one for a while. So at any rate, thank you so much for coming and participating and helping us to keep Temple City a safe place to live and a great place to raise your family, a great place to enjoy our new parks. And also remember, this weekend we've got Camellia Festival, right? Which is our yearly event that we're very proud of. And of course, if you've gone down Las Tunas, you'd probably say, well, wait a minute, what's going on? The streets are blocked. Well, that's the Camellia Festival. But that starts tomorrow and all weekend, so make sure you get out there. The weather's supposed to be great. And again, we got a break. It's not raining, so that's a good thing. So, with that, are we ready for the food? Okay, so let's go ahead and get the food now. It's right out the door here. Help yourself, and then we're going to start the program as soon as people start getting back in here. Thank you.
A couple people still out there, and if you feel like you need to get some more, please help yourselves. Thank you again for coming out and joining us for our neighborhood watch meeting. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to share some information with you guys. We have a couple various topics that we're going to be going over. We're going to be discussing residential burglary. We're going to talk about some of the crime statistics within the community. We're going to talk about distracted driving, crimes of opportunity. So hopefully we cover a lot of bases here for you today. And if you guys have any questions or something that comes up, we have a Q&A session like dedicated for at the end. But if there's something that you need to know, like right there, don't hesitate to raise your hand and just, you know, we'll do our best to answer your question at that time. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our dedicated team. We have Deputy Felix, Deputy Bowie, and Deputy Schwartz. They are our dedicated special assignment team for the city of Temple City. And Deputy Felix is going to start off our presentation. Thank you, guys.
How you guys doing? So we're going to go over a couple topics here. First, we're going to be talking about some of the crime statistics for the city. We're going to be talking about calling 911, residential burglaries, emergency preparedness, crimes of opportunity, traffic awareness, and at the end we'll do a question. The crime statistics the last 4 years. So our big topic that we want to focus on this meeting is going to be the residential burglaries, which have been the highest this past year. Now, the second half, the majority of the statistics were in the first half of 2025. The second half was significantly lower, and all the crimes have actually been significantly lower as the year States. And the numbers are also on the slideshow pamphlet here. So the current crime trends, so it's going to be the burglaries and thefts. What we're doing to reduce it. So there's 3 of us in our team. That's in addition to the regular patrol vehicle, crime cars and traffic cars that we have in the city. So it's myself and my 2 other partners. We're assigned specifically for Temple City and we focus on certain crimes or crime trends that are happening in the city. So what we do several undercover operations for the burglaries. If you see any, we pretty much drive either an unmarked vehicle or a car that looks normal. We drive around, we notify our other partners, and then we try to stop that vehicle or try to stop that crime that's actually happening. We adjust our time, so if the crime's happening, we notice that the majority of the crimes or certain crimes are happening at night, then we deploy at night. We just pretty much follow the crime trends, and then we try to focus on that, review video, and follow up with suspects and stuff like that. We have our fog cameras, which we have cameras around the city, reads our license plates. So if there's a crime that's happening or happened, we have vehicle information or even license plate. Those cameras are able to read it, provide us that information so we can follow up of those suspects. What we're also doing is much like this, the area watch meetings to inform everybody in the city, certain areas, the crime that's actually happening, and to notify pretty much each other and kind of know what's going on in the city to try to prevent it.
911 emergency patient be reported.
Do you know what happens when you call 911? Let's take a look. All 911 operators are Florida State certified and ready to help you through your emergency situation until emergency responders arrive. Your 911 call is automatically routed to a law enforcement agency in your area. Once the 911 operator knows what and where the emergency is, emergency response units are dispatched to the location. While the emergency units are on the way, the operator will continue to ask questions to get specific details about the emergency and may give you specific instructions to follow. It is very important that you stay on the line with the operator and answer all the questions to the best of your ability. Don't hang up until the operator instructs you to do so. This is the best way to ensure the correct emergency assistance will arrive on the scene. All the information is forwarded to the emergency responders so they are prepared when they arrive on the scene. The goal during every 911 call is to get the correct emergency response to the correct emergency location as quickly as possible. As a 911 caller, you are a very important part of that process.
Troublemakers always sit in the back of the class.
Answer all the questions to the best of your ability, follow any instructions given, and don't hang up until you are instructed to do so.
Okay, a couple things when calling 911. I know the situation may be kind of scary. Adrenaline's going to be rushing and stuff. So first thing is stay calm and speak clearly. Just take a couple deep breaths. There's a lot of key points that the call taker will be needing from you when you're calling. So is knowing your location. So the very first thing they may ask you is where you are. So home address, obviously it's easy to remember, but if you're on about, whether it be a car accident or a store or something like that, landmarks help. Any major streets, the name of the store, or your surroundings may even help. They may be specific. You live in an apartment complex. They may ask about apartment number, or if there's a keypad for the deputies to access the apartment, which is very important. They're going to ask you cross streets as well, which is very important, just because a lot of these, some of these streets are very small that we may not be familiar with, so the cross streets help out a lot. So they're going to ask you questions. They're going to, I know sometimes you know, you want the response pretty quick, but once we have your address, they're already responding, but they're going to be following up with some questions. Details of, you know, descriptions of the suspect, or what's actually going on, the last seen location. Depending on what it is, whether it be a medical emergency or an actual crime happening, they're going to give you instructions of, and they're going to ask you specific questions of what they need. And whatever you do, don't hang up the phone. So I know it's customary just to, you know, give information, and sometimes you just want to hang up, but we need you to stay on the line. They're going to, you know, for updates where this person is at, what is actually happening now while the deputies are responding to your location, or even the fire department. It helps also staying on the line in case you don't know exactly where you are, or you're unable to provide the address or anything. We do have a system that can locate where you are. So it pings us a certain radius of where you are, but at least we can respond to a certain location. If you can give us clothing, description of what you're wearing, or anything like that, we'll be able to find you as long as you stay on the line. This is a little video of texting 911 as opposed to calling.
Text 911 is now available in Los Angeles County. If you are unable to speak, or if it isn't safe to do so, text a message to 911 as you would any other number. You'll be connected to the nearest 911 dispatch station, which will coordinate emergency response, whether you need police, fire, or an ambulance. Text 911. Call if you can, text if you can't.
So the Text 911 is a new program that we have. You're able to, instead of calling, you're in a certain situation, or you're scared, you don't want to make it very obvious that you're calling or something like that, you can text. It goes straight to our desk, or any location you're at. It goes to the nearest station, and they're able to actually reply back to you. They'll text you back. They'll ask same questions as if you were on the phone. Your location, description, and if they can, they might even give you a call back. If you don't answer, they'll continue texting you. It'll be the same questions, your location, address, and stuff like that. With the text as well, we're actually able to ping where you're at also with that. The text messages, the numbers are the same, 911, and it's just another option as opposed to calling. Then we're going to be moving on to protecting your home from burglars.
Hello everyone, I'm Deputy Bowie. This portion is going to be about residential burglaries. Residential burglaries is something that cannot be, we can prevent it as much as we can, but we can't stop it. There's nothing 100% that says that we can stop crime as much as we can, but we can slow it down and deter it. Because these criminals, if they want to get in, they're going to get in. And in the slides will show you later that it'll tell you why to prevent it. Is because, you know, social media and stuff like that, that if you post, hey, I'm on vacation, you know, I have high luxury items to show everyone that what you have, they're going to know you have these items at home. And especially when you make yourself a target for them, they're going to want to go in, and if they want to go in, they're going to find every single way they can to get in. So there's only certain things that you can deter it, which this is what easy ways to keep yourself safe. For one thing, always keep your doors locked. I know it's winter right now, it's cold, the doors are all shut, the windows are all locked and secure. But when it comes to the summer, we forget little simple things where it's hot. I don't leave the window open. It can be the upstairs window, it can be downstairs window. Just being open, that very little gap gives them an opportunity to get into your home. Again, it's very simple, but it happens a lot. These criminals are like, I don't know what you can say, but they win the lottery. For some reason, they find the houses that have that. They're targeting homes that are easy targets for them to do. So lock your window. You know, I know a lot of security is that, hey, keep the brush so they can't see inside your home, keep it around, but it's also a deterrent too that no one can see in. So for residential burglary, it's easy for them to access it and no one sees anything. If you don't have an alarm or anything else, dogs barking, it gives them an easy opportunity to go into your home. So in this picture, it shows keep your garage door closed, because you know how sometimes we're out there, we're outside doing your yard work, you leave the garage open. These criminals are driving by and they see, ooh, look at, they have nice stuff inside the garage. If you have nice stuff in your garage, you can have nice stuff in the home. So it gives them a little opportunity to get in. Make sure your windows are secure. You know, there's blinds. If you're not home, keep them shut. Make sure that you know that, you know, you don't want to leave it wide open and then you have all these high luxury items that you may have. Again, it may be not luxury items or high end, but remember, for a criminal, anything is good for them. Anything they can take, they'll take. So don't give them that opportunity to see it. Your trash. You know, high-end items, you know, if you have ionized, you put it in the trash can, you leave the big box that you had a big screen TV or you had some other easy items. It's not the 80s or 90s where they would try to steal your big screen TV or anything else like that. But all those little items that you leave out that you show them that, hey, you get a lot of stuff from Amazon, you don't break down the boxes, you don't close it down, and you just see big items in your trash can and stuff like that, they're going to notice that, hey, they have a lot of stuff. They're always coming in. They may not get your house today, tomorrow, the next week, but they'll remember, hey, I remember this house. I'm pretty sure they keep notes of, hey, you know, if I don't get, I'm driving around, hey, this house might be something that I might want. So these are kind of little items that you want. Lights. Lights are good, but usually with these burglaries that are happening right now are mostly in the daytime. And the reason why daytime is because most of you are where? At work. So 90% of the time, they're going to get you in the daytime because they're driving around, they're going to see that, hey, this car just left. Remember, this is that crime opportunity. You can't stop it, but it's your way to deter. If you're driving around and you see something that you know your neighbors' cars, you know the Amazon drivers, you know everyone else. If it doesn't look right, you should call. And always call and let us deal with it. Again, sometimes we're not going to get there in time, but if you give us information that we can help. Like, hey, I saw this black BMW, had no license plate, it had something, but it had a sticker on the side of the window. Like we talked about, that camera, vlog camera, can actually help us find it, track that car down a little bit. We're not going to find it because it has no plate, but we kind of have an idea of one black BMW compared to how many BMWs that we have, for example, or a Tesla. How many Teslas do we have here? You're not going to, we need distinguished things that we can see from, that have black rims, tinted windows, that we can start narrowing it down. So that's what we would ask, that if you see something, say something. Because that little information can help us go to another crime that happened some other day or happened if they're using the same car. So that's the things that we need from the public to help out. So be aware, when you're driving around and you go, there's a car driving around and they just noticed I drove off, turn back around and check your home. Because if they see you, you've actually deterred them a lot. I'm not saying go out there and contact them and go, hey, what are you doing in my neighborhood or anything. Take a photo of the license plate, take a picture of the car, whatever you can, or just direct eye contact. Stop and just look at them. They will go away. Criminals will not want you to they don't want you to notice that they're there. So just by that, deters them quite a bit. So know your neighbor. Again, to prevent this, you can't really do it, but this is another burglary thing that they do. Don't open the door for people you don't know. Edison or anyone else like that as well. If it's Edison and you think it's Edison or any electric company or a big company, you can always call them to verify why they're in your neighborhood. If not, you call law enforcement and let us come and deal with it. Because we will come out and check up. Make sure that they're not regular door-to-door salesmen. Because in the city of Temple City, we have to have a permit to come into the city to get the door knocks. Again, they say they have a county permit, that it's not a city permit. So call us so that we can verify who they are. Don't open the door, verify who they are, but do not open the door. Because once you acknowledge them, if they're criminals, they're going to try to find a way and leave. Or they have someone going to the backyard because, remember, it's warm, you have your backyard open. So if they're distracting you in the front, and the other parties that they have, the other suspects they have friends, are going to come out to the backyard and distract you, and they're going to go into your home from the back. Then they'll leave. So don't be distracted. Do not leave large amounts of money, cash, jewelry. Again, we all work hard for all our items. Just make sure if you have them, make sure you secure them. If you secure them in a safe, make sure the safe is bolted to the ground. You don't know how many calls that we have that, they had a safe, they didn't bolt it down, but the safe is just the size of a laptop, a small bag, but you don't bolt it down or secure it, and you just walk away with it. So there's no use of having all the nice items and you secure it, but you're not securing it to the ground, to the box. Put it away so they don't see it. Don't post things on social media because social media is one of the new trend. A lot of us like to say, hey, I'm going on vacation, I just bought this watch, I bought this jewelry, I have this purse. All these items are valuable to these crooks. They will follow your social media, and again, it's not you that they're following. It's someone else with a friend that shows, hey, look at, my friend got this news thing that's so expensive, it's rare. And again, social media, you can find out anybody, anywhere, anytime. And then if you're posting you're on vacation, guess what? Did they take the item with me? Maybe not, maybe they did. But if you have one high-end item, you're going to have multiple items. So that's why criminals know that if there's one good thing, there's going to be multiple good things. You don't just have one high-end item. So just be careful what you post and what you're doing. Important steps. Again, residence burglary is one of the unusual crimes that we have. But we get people, the neighbors or someone that find out, hey, there's some guys that look like ninjas going to my neighbor's yard. You know what? Let me call my neighbor first. Let me call the owner. But they don't call us directly. So if you remember the first part where the 911 call and everything, all that's delayed for us to get there. The faster you get us there, the faster we can catch these guys. But if you're calling your neighbor first and then they don't answer, then you go, should I call the police? Just imagine that that's about 3 to 4 minutes already wasted. And they're in the home less than 3 to 4 minutes, period. Depending if you have an alarm or anything else like that. If you have an alarm, they're going to be in your home all day looking for everything they can until they leave. So make sure you call us. Make sure you know the number, 911. If you see people jumping into your neighbor's home that don't belong there, that is a 911 call. And that's answered differently so that we can respond faster. If it's a regular business line that, hey, there's a car parked here, it looks a little weird, someone's sitting in the car, that's the regular business line, the 626-285-7171. But if you saw that car and 4 ninjas jumped out of the car and just went into someone's yard, that's a 911 call. You kind of see the difference? That's what's going to make us respond a little faster because we know that that's something that's one of their MOs that they do. So we will respond faster because our dispatcher is going to call us and they're going to send it out. So the more information you can get for us, especially when you call and go, hey, the 4 ninjas got out of this white Tesla that had red rims. When we're responding, we know what we're coming into. If we see a Tesla with red rims, we're going to stop that car and that's their getaway car. So if they're still in the home and we get the getaway car first, they have nowhere to go. And we'll get the helicopter up and everything. We'll try and do our best to catch them. So that's what the response time is to help out by knowing what to do and how to call to help us catch these criminals. And again, like the reporting the suspicious activities again, is the same thing that we go through all the time. We think, oh yeah, it's simple, I do it all the time, but we don't. We go, maybe, maybe not. Let us determine it for us. Just give us a call and we'll send someone out and check it out for us. Report your neighbors, have surveillance cameras. A lot of times, we all have mostly surveillance cameras, but a lot of us don't know how to use them. So when we get to the investigation part, we're going, hey, you have cameras. Can we review it so we can see if we can see a car or anything? Oh, I don't. My son knows how to do it. My wife knows how to do. Where are they? Well, they're at work, they're at school, so I can't get a hold of them right now. So that deters our investigation to find out, hey, what we're looking for. So when it's a now call, we would actually need the help. And sometimes now it's like 2 days later, we'll get the video of the guys. And if they had good, good information that we could use, they're going to dump that stuff already. That car that they use, they know they're not going to use it twice. They dump it, so our investigation period can't go anywhere because we have nothing else now. Because they've gone too long, 2 to 3 days to follow up for the investigation. For us to look at the video, it's pretty much they're gone in the wind. Don't touch any items unless directed by officers that, for example, if they do break in, there's a little blood or fingerprints that we could actually see. Don't touch it, move it, and go, hey. Again, because we do this because we see it a lot. They break into the home, they call us, but they're already cleaning up all the glass, they're wiping everything down. So you just cleared everything for us to get any DNA or fingerprints that we could use. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't, but let us determine, because when we get there, we can see other items that we can help out with. Make a list of stolen items. A lot of your items that we asked to are really unique. If you have unique items that are one of a kind, you want to take photos of it and document it so that you can do it for your insurance as well. Because, for example, one pair of shoes or the same pair of shoes, one purse is going to be the same purse. But if you have your jewelry that has a unique diamond print or a jade or something that has something, that's what's going to be unique. So if we catch somebody with it, we can match that item with yours because it's unique to yourself. It's not something generic that everybody can buy at a retail store. So know what you have and make a list of it. Because when we get there, what was stolen? Well, I don't know yet. What was inside the safe? Well, I don't know yet. It was just some papers, some jewelry. Well, what was it? Oh, I'm not sure yet. I have to check with my wife. I have to check with my husband. That's kind of the stuff that, delays a lot of the stuff for us to catch these criminals. Yeah, and like serial numbers. If some of you own firearms, that's going to be something that we would want to know right away. Your jewelry, some of the jewelry, like high-end stuff, have serial numbers. Know it, because we have to enter all those numbers into a system where if they try to cash it or if they try to sell it somewhere else, they can run that serial number and says that serial number is stolen. So know your items. One of the most things is bikes. Each of us have bikes, right? Somewhere or another. It has a serial number, but when your bike is stolen, we ask you to identify markers. No, but your serial number's on there. But nobody knows the serial number to their bike, their scooters, their e-bikes, or e-scooters. No one ever has that information for us. So how are we going to catch something that's my bike? How do you know? So that's the other thing that we know want you to do that have for us so that we can catch these guys that have your stolen property. I believe that's going to be the end of my slide.
All right, folks. So much of what we're doing today is how to gather information or how to know what's happening in our communities. So I wanted to just kind of share some of this information with you. If you don't already do it, here is the way to kind of get connected. So every week we put out a weekly crime blotter. So you get that sent via email as soon as it gets put out, and it can tell you the type of the crime activity that's happening in the city that week. If you are more visual like me, you can actually go to this website where it's crime mapping, where you can actually go and put in your address, and it'll tell you all the crime activity that's happened around your neighborhood. It'll let you go back and do a search for up to 6 months just to see everything that's going. Now, I will give a quick caveat to that is sometimes you plot in the information and you're like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff going on. Again, know that it's tracking things for 6 months. It's tracking all reported crimes in the area. So it shows you what's happening, but it doesn't tell you the follow-up. So that's the bad thing. But it gives you, it paints a nice picture. If you have some kind of suspicion about something or you've heard about something that might have happened in the neighborhood, that's a good way to kind of check it out and see what's been reported. Crime Stoppers. I really like Crime Stoppers. This is an opportunity for you to share information with our team. So if you have a suspicion that maybe someone up your street is doing some shady business and you don't know what's happening, you can contact Crime Stoppers, report what's going on. You can share your information if you wish, or you can be completely anonymous. But just provide the details of what's happening, and everything that is entered via Crime Stopper does get reviewed and does get looked into. Now, again, let me just caveat that. You may not notice what's happening because based on the information that you provide, our officers are going to work to try to monitor that situation to validate the claim that was reported and do an undercover investigation in that activity. So it's not something that's going to make stop overnight, but it does get looked at. And it's a great way to share information about activity that's happening in your neighborhood. And the request tracker, listen, the request tracker is actually a city-operated program. And I shared this one with you guys so that you know that if there's something that is, let's say the street light is out on your block. Well, something like that is you want to report it so that we can get it fixed because dark streets can attract certain negative elements. And this is a way to kind of help this. If somebody stole a stop sign at the end of the block, you know, those are things, they happen, but they can lead to some serious public safety issues, and we want to get that addressed as quickly as possible. So you can go to the city website, enter a situation, and our public works team will go out there and do their best to take care of that. So these are great ways for everyone to stay informed. You have all these numbers in your little pamphlets, take it with you, post it on your fridge. It's a good thing for you to have handy. In addition, we want to make sure that you guys know who to call if you ever have any kind of issue. So Temple Sheriff Station right up the top. So the 626 number, that's the non-emergency line. And again, the difference between calling 911 and calling a non-emergency number is something that you want to advise versus something that's happening now. If you see somebody breaking into your neighbor's car now, you're going to call 911 because that's something that's happening right now. So you want to get the quickest response that you can by calling 911. If you have an issue that somebody's been parked on your street for the last couple days, that car's not familiar to the area, you think it might be a little suspicious, that's a non-emergency number. You're going to call the 7171 number. And they'll take your information and they'll have somebody look into that car. So knowing the difference from that. The county information line. So the county information line there's a variety of county services that are available to the residents through the 211 number. It has a full detailed directory that can help you get to a lot of resources through the county that you can use on that. Domestic violence hotline, child abuse hotline, elder abuse hotline, mental health, suicide prevention. We very much care for everyone's well-being and want to make sure that they know who to call if ever they were in those situations. So we have those numbers available. Again, they're in your pamphlet. Stick them on the fridge. They're good to have. You just never know. And then last one, the Humane Society. So if you have any issues with dogs, cats, animals in your neighborhood, you definitely contact the Humane Society to help you with that. So next up, we're going to talk about emergency preparedness. Just disasters, as Mayor Chavez said, thankfully we don't have an experienced one lately, and hopefully we stay that way. But I want to just kind of share with you the importance of emergency preparedness. It's important to have a plan. You have to. How many of you have a phone tree that you can contact somebody in the event of an emergency, either a relative that's out of state or a plan of action if something were to happen? Where are you going to meet up with your family members? Those are things that we have to discuss, and we have to set up a plan in order to kind of help manage those situations. Maintaining supplies. We'll talk more about what kind of supplies you need and what are good things to have. Understanding the hazards in our neighborhood. Like, we live in Southern California. We're prone to what? Earthquakes, right? We know. We live in Southern California. You best be prepared for an earthquake. But let's take it back a little bit. Last January, we were struck with a pretty serious windstorm. How many of you guys were prepared for a windstorm? I know I wasn't. So things that you can do, understand some of the dangers or some of the elements that can happen within our community and have some kind of plan to address that. Getting trained. So CERT program, have you guys heard of the CERT program? Yes, right? That's the Community Emergency Response Team. Free. You guys can take that training for free. It's hosted by LA County Fire. They train you in a variety of survival skills that you can use in your day-to-day life. So, great resource to have. Through the American Red Cross, how many of you guys are first aid or CPR trained? See, again, great skill to have. You just never know. So those are things that you can do on your own to help better your skills in the event of an emergency. So let's share a little video with you guys.
Disasters can strike at any time. You may need to survive on your own for several days. Preparing an emergency survival kit with your own food, water, and other supplies can keep you and loved ones safe until help arrives. To assemble your kit, put your entire disaster supplies kit in 1 or 2 easy-to-carry containers such as plastic bins or a duffel bag. Here are the must-have items. Water. Make sure you have at least 1 gallon per person per day, both for drinking and for sanitation. The more water you can fit into your bin, the better. Food. Choose non-perishable food, something that can be eaten right out of the can, like vegetables, pasta, or chili. Don't forget a manual can opener. Flashlight. Make sure you have extra batteries.
This is the NOAA radio, all hazard.
A weather radio. A hand-cranked radio is best, but if it takes batteries, make sure you have a fresh set. There are even some radios that have flashlights and USB ports for charging devices, such as cell phones. A fully stocked first aid kit. Check expiration dates each year and replace anything that is expired or soon will be. Be sure not to forget about your pets and your little ones. Remember to include diapers, infant formula, medicine, bottles, and any other necessary essentials for your children. For pets, keep extra food, collapsible bowls, and medicine with your kit. And speaking of medicine, keep several days' worth of any prescriptions and over-the-counter medications in your kit for all members of your household. Once you've assembled your kit, be sure to store it in a cool, dry place like your kitchen pantry that's easily accessible to all members of the household. Check your kit every few months to ensure expired items are replaced and that the kit is updated to meet any new household needs. After assembling and storing your home emergency kit, consider assembling one for your workplace and your car. You never know where you'll be when a disaster hits, so you need to be prepared no matter where you might be. For a complete list of items and ideas about how to build your kit, visit ready.gov/kit.
So I just want to share that with you, just so you guys can have an idea of what are some key items to be able to include in your emergency kit. Again, as they mentioned, having a kit available at home, at work, and in your car, because you just never know where you're going to be when a situation like this happens. If you haven't already, I want to make sure that you guys are aware, the city of Temple City has an alert system. So if you text alert TC, you set yourself up to get the notifications in the event of an emergency. We try to share as much information as we can to keep everybody aware of things that are happening in the event of an emergency. So if you haven't done that, that's a great resource to add to your list. As well as all these websites that we have. I really like ready.gov. They have a lot of useful information. They can walk you down to the most basic detail in terms of what you can use to build your kit. And as well as all these other resources, they have great information that you can use. All that information, all these websites are in your pamphlet, so you guys can go back and check on them and do some, really get into the weeds of building an emergency kit. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Deputy Schwartz when we talk about crimes of opportunity.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Deputy Schwartz, and I'm assigned to the Special Assignment Officer with my 2 other partners. Today, we're going to be going over crimes of opportunity and what you can do to prevent those crimes.
It may seem like common sense, but leaving valuables in your vehicle is risky, and is a prime opportunity for thieves to break in. Many vehicle burglaries are crimes of opportunity and temptation. Thieves can see your possessions in the vehicle and decide to help themselves. Avoid this by keeping valuables out of sight, or better yet, removing them completely. You can hide items in your trunk, but be sure to remove them once you reach your destination. Together, we can work to reduce this crime within our city.
So just like that video showed, you would be surprised this happens a lot. So if you do read the crime stats, where it has the petty theft, the grand theft, and even sometimes the robbery on the front, a good portion of those, unfortunately, are crimes that could have been preventable. Unfortunately, we don't live in a day and age where we can just trust everyone, so doing these little steps, we do go to a lot of calls where like, I just went in I ordered my food at the restaurant, I went in, I came out, my front windshield was shattered. They left their purse, they left their laptop just displayed right there on the front passenger seat. So unfortunately, it is very common, and these are just ways that you can prevent the crimes. Just like how in the video, try to lock it in your trunk if possible. If not, keep it on your person. Do not try to cover it with a blanket or a jacket still on your front passenger seat. Criminals are still looking for that. They know that there's going to be an item under there. There's a reason why you just put something like a blanket or a jacket on your front seat. They know you're trying to hide something out of plain sight. Also, just try to park in a secure and well-lit areas. I know it's not always possible to do, but if you do have the opportunity, try to park somewhere where it's well-lit. They'll tend to go to a different car or a different place instead of going there. And just a quick glance when you get out of your car, just looking around. Just 360, looking around, see what's around you. If you do see anything suspicious, you guys can always call us. Package theft. This day and age with everything is all electronic, you can set up to where you are notified when the package is delivered, or even give that delivery service specific instructions on where you want the package to go. So if you do know that you are expecting a high value item, you can leave instructions. You guys know your house better than anyone else where you think it might be secluded, because a lot of these times these criminals are just driving up and down, up and down. So if they see a package in plain view right on your front porch, that's when they're going to take it, steal it, and these are why we're going over preventable crimes. So what I do sometimes, I'll have my gate unlocked and just have simple instructions, just leave it in the backyard, you know, so it's out of plain view. So yeah, different services have different delivery instructions. Also, in your community, if you know your neighbors, you can just talk to them, hey, I have a package delivered, can you just please be on the lookout for it. Also, having ring cameras or any surveillance cameras on your front porch is also a big deterrent. Okay, thefts. I know you guys see it a lot now with the e-bikes. We've been having a big uptick with stolen e-bikes. So if you see a lot of like grand thefts, if you're on the crime blotters, a lot of them, unfortunately now, with the value of e-bikes, they are very expensive. They're getting stolen. But a lot of people are not locking up their items. They don't have bike locks. Just getting a simple bike lock prevents a lot. We have a lot of people that just go into the grocery store real fast, they come out and their bike is gone. They didn't lock it up, they just thought, oh, it's a high traffic area. But a lot of people coming in and out, they don't know whose bike that is, so they see someone jump on it, drive away, they think it's theirs. But unfortunately that person is stealing a bike. So getting locks, also avoid displaying high value items on you. Just being flashy, unfortunately, it's just the times. Try to prevent that, and just how we went, stay in well-lit areas. To go on to cybercrime, just how we said with everything is electronic, I was just a victim of cybercrime not too long ago. My biggest advice with this is, I got a phone call saying it was my bank calling me. Same exact number from the bank. Okay, they asked for some information, I gave it. It's like, hey, they sent me a text message link. They wanted me to open up the link. I was like, you guys are fraud. Didn't answer, right? But they still somehow got my information based on me telling them my address and my name at the beginning. So what I should have done was get that person's name. Okay, so you work for this financial institution. Okay, go to the website and call that number and ask, hey, do you have so-and-so work for you? Did you guys just call me? And it'll verify. Now with AI technology, they're using the same exact phone numbers as these banks. So if you answer it, you think, oh, it's the same number. So that's how they got me. So it's different times now with technology. So do not trust emails, do not open up links, do not give them your information over the phone. Just get their name, hang up, go to the actual website, call the number on the website, and then try to speak to someone from there. And if they did not call you, so tell them that you could be a victim of crime right now, and they'll open it up in case something does happen to your account. Getting text message alerts for credit cards, that's the big one. So if you're out and about, you get a text message saying a $500 transaction was used at Target and you weren't even there, call your bank, because you are a victim right now. Someone has your credit card information. Just how this says, monitor your finances regularly. There are a lot of people, they don't get updates what's in their checking account, savings account, so just checking it periodically helps. And that's all for the crimes of opportunity. And if you do have any other questions that come up, I'll be here at the end to answer them. I'll be doing traffic as well. So this is for the Traffic and Pedestrians Awareness, Distracted Driving, and the fairly new AB 413 daylighting law, and also the e-bike regulations and safety. Okay, the majority of fatal injury auto accidents are from distracted drivers, unfortunately. Just how I said, everything is electronics. A lot of people are glued to their phones, texting, calling, and they're not looking, especially when the roadway is slick. We just had a traffic crash today where a vehicle hit 3 parked cars. He wasn't paying attention. He was on his phone. So just simple things like that. Please, it's not worth it having your morning coffee. I know it's hard, 2 hands on the wheel, depending on the roadway, the weather conditions, everything like that. Okay, so this is, as of January 1st, 2025, it is illegal for a vehicle to park on the approach of any marked or unmarked crosswalk, whether the curb line is painted red or not. And again, this is the AB 413 daylighting law. To me, I'm more of a visual person, so kind of the way that it shows right there is how it's 20 feet from any intersection, from the crosswalk. So you can't park within that 20 feet. Just how it says at the bottom. And it applies only on the side approaching the crosswalk at intersections. Includes all crosswalks, marked or unmarked. And this is also in the pamphlet that's handed out.
If I could just really quick, it's California law, so this isn't something that just applies to the city. This is anywhere that you go, anywhere that you park. So I know a lot of jurisdictions have been slow to kind of roll out enforcement on this, but it is starting to ramp up more and more. That's why we keep sharing this information, because it can happen. You can find a great spot somewhere, I'm going to park there, and not paying attention that it is within that 20 feet of a crosswalk, and then get cited. So just want to make sure we're trying to educate you guys as much as we can regarding this new law, so you don't get subject to the cite. And I believe the violation amount on that is about $75. So just FYI. Dude, that's the thing. So that's why it's important to know that there's no signs. There's not always going to be a red curve. Sometimes there will be, sometimes there won't be. So it's important for you to understand the risk depending on where you park.
And the reason for this law is to protect pedestrian safety. As this photo right up here, the way this vehicle is, if this pedestrian is walking, this vehicle cannot see this person entering the crosswalk and crossing, so that's why this law was meant to protect people walking in intersections.
I would really be mindful, especially around schools, around parks. I can see most of those types of areas having a stricter enforcement versus a calm residential area.
Okay, so e-bikes, just how we went over the grand thefts, how you see more e-bikes out there. So there are e-bike laws and awareness, and this photo is just to kind of show everyone the different types of e-bikes, from bicycles to type 1 e-bikes to type 2 to type 3, then all the way to a motorcycle. California classifies e-bikes as a bicycle with operational pedals and an electronic motor of no more than 750 watts that does not exceed 28 miles per hour. E-bike riders must adhere to the same rules of the road as traditional bicycles. Riders must obey all traffic laws, must use bike lanes when available, obey all posted signs, no tandem, riding. Oh, gotcha. No riding without proper equipment. All riders under 18 require a helmet. So even on e-bikes and bicycles, they do have to stop at stop signs. They do have to stop at red lights. They're just like a vehicle. They have to obey all the rules as a vehicle as well. So the new, just passed in 2026, e-bikes must have a rear red reflector or an illuminated red light at all times. Parents may be fined for riders under 18 who do not wear a helmet. Modified e-bikes are illegal. E-motorcycles can be impounded. So just like vehicles, how they can be impounded, e-bikes now can as well.
I see a lot of these guys riding on sidewalks, and they don't stop at the curb, and you've got a stop sign, but, you know, for your driving, but these guys, you know, these kids, they just keep going, and
Yes, sir. Yeah, and that's one thing that we're doing. We're going to the schools and educating the kids for their safety, but they are supposed to be stopping at the red lights. So they should be obeying all traffic signs, but that is something that has been aware, and we have been, along with Jose, continuously doing it, going to the schools and notifying the kids and the parents. Beginning of school, they were out there telling the kids and the parents what type of e-bikes there are and the laws for the e-bikes as well. For safety information, e-bike related incidents continue to rise. Riders must ensure they are operating their device properly. Bicycles are vehicles under the California Vehicle Code, and riders can be held liable to violations if found negligent. So just how I said, they have to obey the same rules as a vehicle on the road.
So real quick on that is, as parents who are primarily purchasing these devices for our kids, thinking that it's going to be an assistance to them, or just a fun thing, if we're letting our kids go out and ride e-bikes and they're not riding properly and they get into an accident, again, that liability transfers over to the parents. So it's something that we need to be aware of. You know, as much as we trust our kids to be out there doing the right thing all the time, it doesn't always happen. So just something to be mindful of. And the QR code that we have here is actually a free e-bike training course that was put together by the CHP, and it goes over all the latest laws and operation and guidelines for anybody. It's not just meant for students, but anyone can take that course. It's a great piece of information. Yes, ma'am.
Motorized scooters follow the same rules?
Motorized scooters still following the same rules.
Volunteer opportunities, if you have any time, yes sir. Yep.
I'm just saying, I'm here today representing the volunteers on patrol. You want to say something about it?
Yes, please.
Okay. It's available to Temple City and surrounding city residents of all ages, 18, I believe, and above. It's a great opportunity. I've been doing it for 14 years. There's people that have been doing it for 20 or 25 years. We get to patrol in a white vehicle, volunteer car. We get to go with the deputies on patrol. When we're with deputies, we can help them with traffic control, watching prisoners, providing lighting for them when they're inspecting residents. We provide another set of eyes when they're looking for criminals or cars. I've helped any number of them myself. I think the oldest member of the group, I'm here because people always say, well, I'm too old. No, you're not. I'm 84. And if you're older than that and you want to volunteer, they'd still be interested in seeing you. So thank you.
in the classification types, type 1 and type 2, type 1 is a pedal assisted, so you have to pedal the bicycle in order for the motor to engage. A type 2 has a throttle assist, so you can ride it or just hit the throttle and it'll propel you forward. And then a type 3 has both. So the type 3 are the ones that can go up to 28 miles an hour, and those you have to be 60 years old or older in order to operate that. But the other two classes, you do not. So 16 for the type 3. And then the moped or the motorized bikes, those are actually illegal. So unless it's, so the e-motorcycles or the e-dirt bikes, and they look just like a dirt bike, those are not legal to be operated on the roadway. You can own them, so you can purchase them, you just can't operate them on the street. So that's an issue that we've been trying to deal with in order to provide that education.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
For the e-bikes, are they allowed to be ridden on the sidewalk?
They're designated to be ridden in bike paths wherever they're available. So it depends on, should they be ridden on the sidewalk? No. They should be ridden on the street. People do ride them on the sidewalks, and we encourage people to ride them on designated bikeways. But that's a bit of a challenge, just depending on the circumstance for the different individuals. So, for example, if I have a young child and they're riding an e-bike, or they have a bike, and as a parent, most parents are telling their child to ride it on the sidewalk because the sidewalk is safer than riding it on the roadway. But technically, it should be on the roadway. So that's where we have a little bit of challenge, and we're trying to do our best to make sure that we're educating and making sure that all the users are respecting the laws and abiding by the flow of traffic and mindful of pedestrians on the sidewalk. Yes, ma'am. Same rules apply. Same rules apply. So if it's a regular bicycle or an e-bike, same rules. So, all right, guys, we are done with our presentations. I'm open for questions. If anybody has a question regarding any of the information that we discussed, please feel free.
Yeah, I'm going to come around and collect your surveys. Everybody who fills out a survey will get a raffle ticket. So I'm going to start from the back.
Sir, yes.
Give me a pen.
Oh, the flock camera system?
Yeah.
Yes. Did you have a specific question about the flocks?
Just, I heard about it, and I just want to find out, more about it.
Sure. So they're systems that are strategically placed in various parts in order to try to capture license plates. So it reads license plates as it runs through. It captures a photo of the vehicle, so that's how we're able to get a better description of the car. Based on, so if a car was stolen out of a different area, for example, and it passes through that camera, it's going to trigger an alert to notify our field units that car just passed a certain area, and it allows them to kind of help pinpoint them and find that vehicle.
Are they as much in residential as they are commercial, or?
The cameras themselves, they're wherever they feel is going to be a valuable asset to the community. So, yeah, they can have them on private property, you can have them on public property, but it just depends on where they feel that they're necessary. So, yes, sir. You can always call and report it, and we can have deputies respond. So the question was, what do you do if if a child is riding on a bike on the sidewalk and they're not paying attention and they almost hit someone? I would call. You could call the non-emergency number, or you feel if it is an emergency, you need somebody out there right away, and advise of the location. And we'll have deputies kind of look at the area. If anybody is operating an e-bike recklessly, they will be detained and they could be cited, and the bike potentially could be impounded. So there are consequences to those actions. It just matters, how we respond. Yes, ma'am. We do, no, we have them just strategically out throughout the city. We have quite a few.
Are they also in like residential areas?
Yes. Any other questions?
I have a question regarding the cybercrime that Deputies went over. When you get a call from the bank and it comes directly from the bank number, I was afraid to turn around and call the bank because it's the same number.
Yeah, so for my situation, because I get text message alerts from my bank, so when this number called, like, okay, it's the same number from my bank, they asked for my first name, last name, I said yes, they said, oh, do you live here? They already knew, I said yes, and I said, hold on, let me look. So I went back to my text messages, same exact number that had called me. So then they said, we're gonna be sending you a link, and right then and there I knew it was fraud. So I hung up, went to the actual bank website, called that number, said, hey, have you guys just contacted me? And they said no. So if you do get a random phone number and they're saying they're from your bank, insurance, anything like that, okay, hey, what's your name? Okay, perfect. Do you have employee numbers, anything like that? Try to get as much information from them. Okay, I'll contact you right now. Hang up, go to the actual website of whatever institution bank, call that number and ask for that person. And you can verify if it is them. If it's not, then it's fraud. I hope I answered your question.
It was just because when I looked up the phone number, it was the same number that I had just received a call from.
Well, you have to
Yes,
they have
yeah,
the robo number.
but it's robo and it's with AI. That's how they got me. So if you actually, sorry.
So another thing that you can do, if it is the same branch number that came up as your caller ID, and you know that that's a branch number, if you go to the website, there's also a 1-800 number that you can contact for that branch, and you can call them and they can redirect you that way.
Or even the number on the back of your card is
Yes.
the safest?
Yes, yeah. Because it will pop up the same exact phone number,
Right.
but they're doing, it's weird with AI and the robo numbers, and I'm not a big techie person, but there's people that are able to do that, but just call that actual number how she said on the back of your credit card or on the actual
And
website.
again, don't let them pressure you. Go, all right, if you don't trust me, here's the number you call. Don't take that number to heart because that's going to be their number again. So don't get the number that they give you.
So question, if I get a lot of scam caller number from like a unrecognized number, does it mean I'm being monitored by criminals or it's just purely random? They just pick it up?
A lot of it is random, and I know there are companies or websites out there that can try to scrub your information as best as possible, but this day and age with electronics, it's like everything is out there,
It doesn't mean
unfortunately.
I'm being targeted.
No.
I had the same experience as you did with that first call, and I called back the number from my credit card, and once I got this irritating menu, I knew.
Yeah.
Good point. All right, one more question? Yes,
I guess one more. E-bikes and e-scooters subject to the same DMV codes as a motor vehicle? Because I see them without mirrors, I see them riding without helmets, just stuff like that. And then you have to have a stoplight, you have to have a headlight. And that's under Vehicle Code 406, which covers mopeds, which were the first type of motorized bikes that were used here in the state back around 1980.
Yes. No, they are, and that's what they would say, that they are subject to all the same regulations. They are classified as vehicles under the vehicle code, and they do have to meet those requirements. And it's one of those things that e-bikes rolled out very quickly. They became super popular, super fast. So right now, we're trying to do our best to play catch up and making sure that there are regulations in order to help address those issues. So part of what we're doing is trying to provide that level of education to make sure that people understand that they have to adhere to that. So that's what we're doing now.
So for e-bike, they fall into a different classification, so they're not required to have a license plate. The driver doesn't have to have a driver's license nor insurance. So it's a different classification, different rules, like an e-bike doesn't have to have mirrors as opposed to like a motorcycle. motorcycle, obviously you need a driver's license, you need a specific one, the M1, to drive that. For the e-bike, you do not. So there's still new laws that are going to be coming up. We're just trying to catch up, but the e-bikes are just a different classification. But
So they don't fall generally in a motorized bicycle?
there's certain vehicle codes that do. It's just they fall into a different classification. So.
I'm sorry. Those only classification when the motorized, when they're over 50 cc's. Like a motorized one would be under 50 cc's, and anything over the 750, you would actually have to have a driver's license to drive. So those are the only differences between those. But like you said, the lights and stuff are all totally different. When you drive at night, you have to have the lights. But with that new little rule that they had in 2026 where you have to have that reflector light, that's something new that all the bikes have to do. And I don't know if you remember all the bikes before used to have the little reflectors anyways on the wheels and everything else. So that's the only thing that's different. If that kind of clarifies everything for you.
Yeah, because originally they were like a regular bicycle with an electric motor, and then these are just completely different vehicles. But they still do the same thing. They're motorized, they got two wheels, and they got
They're still
pedals.
classified as a non-motorized vehicle.
Because there's no motor, it's powered by electricity, like a battery.
Right, it doesn't make to the speed that it has to have, like the 750 watts. That's why with electrics, there's that wattage that has to go through.
So that would regulate how fast they could go, I guess.
And that's why when it goes to that speed, it has 20, you can go over 28 miles an hour, where you have to be 16 years and above and have a vehicle, a valid license to drive those.
Thank you.
Sure.
Regarding residential burglaries, the serial numbers are great, but almost everybody has an iPhone. So take video and photos of your important things also.
Great point. Thank you, Jerry. All right, folks. Last question. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I understand there's a new law about parking, if you're parking any kind of a grade, and if you can get cited if your wheels aren't turned the right way, if you're going downhill or going uphill, that's
I'm not familiar.
The way the wheels are facing, no, but it's the distance from the curb. So if it's, I believe it's 18 inches away from the curb, yes, but the way the wheels are turned, to my knowledge, there's no.
It's in the motor vehicle code.
Yep.
If you're down, you pointed downward, the wheels are toward the curb. You pointed upward, the wheels are away from the curb.
I apologize, but that's, that we're not really enforcing as much as, the grade. We don't live in an area where we're graded that high that we'd have to worry about that. We're not up north in San Francisco where all the grades are that. But here locally, we're kind of flat enough where we're not really, that's not a key issue that we have to deal with that we would enforce. Unless it was something, things that were happening, it would be enforced more, but that's something that, it is a law that it is written, but it's not enforced because there's really no need to, we're not going to sit there and drive around and go, hey, that car is not curbed right when we have burglaries and all the other stuff going to happen. That's kind of, I hope it's not deterred, but at the back burner, it's not a high priority, then we can solve getting these criminals off the record instead of, I didn't curb my car correctly 2 degrees or whatever.
Good point.
All right, folks. So let's go ahead and do some raffles. So we really appreciate you guys being here, taking those surveys, submitting your tickets. I'm going to have Deputy Schwartz, who recently got recognized for his 2025 Deputy of the Year. So really appreciate all his service. So he's going to be our lucky picker.
Yeah, so if you don't win, it's because of that.
Uh-oh.
And the first prize is courtesy of your Jambazian. This is a whistle. It's great for your personal go kits too, or just to keep on you.
All right, we're going by the last 3 numbers on your tickets. So